Gabriel, right before the break, we were talking about Rousseau, we were talking about the French Revolution and how we're seeing that seep into America today. I mean, the American Revolution was very different. It was all about individual liberty, individual responsibility. The purpose of government was actually to defend the rights God has given us. Under the French Revolution, there is no God, and therefore rights come from government. They don't come from individuals, and you belong to society. It's not that society is something you're part of, it's something that you belong to.
Right. Yeah, you have, and all anti-Christ ideology eventually kills itself and eats itself, which is what happened to Rousseau. He's eventually killed by his own revolutionaries. And you have the American Revolutionary War, which was a very principled stance and a very principled response to King George. They were appealing to King George. They were appealing to, King George's standards, his Constitution. It's amazing to kind of read through the Declaration of Independence now and how eerie it is. It's like, oh, this could be written in our time to our country.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And so you have the founders of our country were grounded in biblical principles, grounded in the history of nations. They understood the rise and fall of nations, which is why they strove for a limited government. Limited government is a Protestant doctrine. That's what people don't understand. God, Abraham Kuyper, 18th century, 1800s, 1900s. Abraham, he's a pastor in Dutch pastor. And he articulated kind of the three forms of government that God has given us, which is where a lot of our Protestant doctrines come from on how we view civil government, church government, and home government, family government. Those are the three governments that God's defined. And when God defines a government, what does he do? He limits that authority. That by definition, that's what it means. So God defined civil government, and it gave, Romans 13 gave the civil government the sword, gave the civil government the right to execute justice. That's a limited government. The family government, what's the job of the family government? Let's put this in modern governmental terminology. It's the government of health, education, and welfare.
Okay.
Sounds like a bureaucracy. But
that should be at the closest to the individual.
That's mom and dad, right? That's my job. My job is to make sure my kids are healthy, make sure they're educated. Health.
The most authority and power should be those closest to the people.
That's right.
At the very closest. State government should be superior to federal government. Local government has basically the family is the local government, the most important local government.
Yeah, and to contrast that with the French Revolution, is the big government is all sovereign. The big, the government at the top is what should control everything. Rousseau, wasn't he the chair of the health and medical part of the government, I think, or something?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he was. But everything in the French Revolution, everything goes up. In the Protestant, American Revolutionary War, everything drives down. All politics goes local. And so the definition of the family is they have most of the authority. And then the definition of the church, so God gave a church government. So we have a church government, we have a family government, and we have a civil government.
Right.
And if you look at it as like concentric circles, they kind of have some overlap here and there, which is where, but you look at our government right now, our civil government, they claim everything, like the French Revolutionary War now.
And it's leading to the same outcomes.
Yeah.
For example, you had Richard Cantillon writing in 1755 about the mass inflation, and those who are closest to the king, he said, will prosper and benefit from the creation of money, and those further away. We're seeing that exactly. So it has implications economically, it has implications in family and society and everything else.